Hey guys, I thought I'd do just a review kind of discussion on a game I just beat just a few minutes ago, and that's Halo 4. Um, I'll just, before I get into the review, I'll say I'm not the biggest Halo fan there is. I have actually bought every Halo game on release the first day it came out. I'm not too big on the storyline overall. I find myself kind of uninterested with anything that goes on in these games. I mainly play it for the campaign. I generally think that the gameplay itself is quite good, especially if you play these games on legendary difficulty. It can be quite fun, and it's always a blast playing co-op with some good friends. I've generally bought the Halo games. I've never really been into the multiplayer. I mean, with Halo on Xbox, the original Combat Evolved on Xbox, the original Xbox, I'd play it split screen all the time with my friends, but that's really the extent of my multiplayer gaming with the Halo series. But with Halo 4, I guess I'll first kind of briefly go over what I thought about the storyline. This game, it kind of delves more into the Master Chief's humanity and kind of his relationship with Cortana, which I thought was quite interesting. Very different than what they've kind of done with the previous Halo games, but other than that, it's a basic kind of story where you're going up against this enemy called the Diadect, I think it's called. Dialect, I already forget. Again, like the previous Halo games, I still wasn't finding myself that engrossed in the storyline of this game. I don't know. I don't really play the Halo games for the storylines. But the storyline here is decent. Nothing crazy, but definitely a decent storyline. What's immediately evident with Halo 4 compared to the other games is the visuals. This game looks gorgeous. The environments are nicely detailed. A lot of variety to them. Each level looks completely different. Just big, wide open environments, and even the corridors have the corridor areas kind of have like a Metroid Prime look to them, which I love. A very colorful game with some really nice special effects. Very impressed with the visuals in this game. The soundtrack it's not quite up to the standards of previous Halo games, but it's still good. It fits. I went through the campaign co-op with 3 friends. It was really fun, if a bit short. I think all the Halo games are pretty short, and this one's no exception. Design-wise, this game, 343 Industries, taking over from Bungie, I would have hoped that they would have done maybe things a bit differently. This game plays it safe. If you go into this expecting something vastly different from previous Halos, you'll be disappointed. This is a Halo game through and through. It plays like Halo. The mission designs are very Halo. A lot of this game, you're just kind of activating different switches and just kind of going through these linear environments. You've got your vehicle sections, your on-rail sections. There is a neat kind of Star Fox type part later in the game that was really fun and different. I really enjoyed that. But generally, it's the same kind of stuff you'll see in the previous Halo games. It's all well designed. It just plays things very safe. I would have liked to see a bit different gameplay design choices. In terms of the enemies you'll be fighting, you fight the Covenant again, which is kind of lame. I'm kind of sick of the Covenant, to be honest. The new enemies, the Prometheans, there's only, I think, 3 different types. They kind of got old too, and their AI isn't anything fantastic. They're kind of boring, to be honest. There's these enemies that will regenerate other enemies, so you got to kind of take care of them first. The Prometheans are not as cool as I would have hoped, so that was kind of a disappointment. Now, one thing with this game I've noticed compared to previous Halo games, which is unfortunate. I don't know about anybody else, but me and my friends ran into a lot of glitches in this game. We were constantly getting stuck in the environment. We'd had to reset various parts of the game because we got glitched into the environment. The checkpoint system always seemed to screw up, and later in the game, there's this, that Star Fox part I was mentioning earlier. The checkpoint system would just screw up, so we had to do like a whole 10-minute section over again like 5 times because the checkpoints weren't working right. It was, very frustrating to see uh, so many glitches and bugs in a game of this, magnitude. I mean, it's a Halo game. The previous Halo games, I never had any problems with glitches, but this one, I don't know. There's a lot of frustrating bugs I ran into, which I haven't heard of anybody else running into too many. So I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Um, Going back on, I forgot to mention, going back to the music. I want to talk briefly about the sound design in this game, which is ramped up quite well. The sound effects are amazing in this game. The guns sound really powerful, really cool. Previous Halo games, I found the guns sounded a bit weak and tinny. In this game, really powerful, nice gun sound effects. That's a nice improvement that I really enjoyed. So yeah, basically the campaign, is a nice, solid campaign. Nothing spectacular, but definitely a fun time. So then that leaves 2 other modes. First, I want to go over the Spartan Ops mode, which is the new mode added to this game, and it kind of replaces the firefight mode in the previous Halos, which I was never really into much. That kind of wave-by-wave gameplay I find gets really repetitive and old quickly. Spartan Ops is basically an episode based mode where they'll release an episode with 5 chapters I think it's every week. They've only got 1 episode up right now. They're kind of like these self-contained missions that happen after the main Halo 4 storyline. Story-wise, there's really not much to them. They're very, even in mission design, they're very basic, linear, just kill all the bad guys type missions. So I don't know, they're kind of dull. And Spartan Ops mode overall seems kind of lazy. I'll admit that. Maybe it is just this episode that was kind of lackluster, and maybe the next ones they'll release are going to be really cool. But yeah, I don't know. They're kind of dull. Another thing with the Spartan Ops is when you die, you don't restart the whole level. You immediately respawn. So there's no challenge to the Spartan Ops levels either. You can play on Legendary and you'll get through it. Every time you die, you'll just come back to life. So yeah, overall Spartan Ops mode so far kind of seems like a throwaway mode. Also, if you don't have Xbox Live Gold, you don't get access to it, which, I don't know, that seems kind of lame to me. And finally, Halo 4's multiplayer mode, the competitive multiplayer, which I've put in a decent amount of hours into it. Again, I'm not a competitive multiplayer guy. I really don't care for it. With multiplayer in this, they've gone with a more Call of Duty style, where, you get perks, you get loadouts, you level up, you can, spend these kind of experience points, well, I call them SP, I think it is, to choose what weapons you want in your loadouts. There's ordnance drops in the multiplayer where I still don't know how they happen, but you'll basically get a choice of 3 different weapons or power-ups, and they can be dropped onto the map and you can pick them up. Other players can also pick them up as well, though. And all this stuff, I thought maybe it would make the game maybe a bit unbalanced. Maybe players that play the game far more would have a better chance of winning than, new players. But I don't know, it didn't seem that way. Everything feels really balanced. It's still, even with the Call of Duty stylings, it still feels like Halo, though more similar to Reach. I do prefer Halo 3's multiplayer. I thought that was probably the best multiplayer in a Halo game. And Halo Reach kind of, I don't know, with the armor abilities kind of ruined it a bit. But yeah, Halo 4 multiplayer is, seems good. If you're into competitive multiplayer, I'm sure you'll love it. I, like previous Halo games, I got tired of it really quick. But that's not to say it's well designed, because it certainly is. And it still feels like Halo. They didn't, even adding in the Call of Duty stuff, it's still fun. So yeah, that's pretty much my review on Halo 4. Overall, a solid game. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Halo 5, because this is a part of a new trilogy. As with when this game, before it was releasing, I said to myself, I'm not going to buy this. I'm done with Halo. And then, of course, I gave into the hype and bought it. I'm probably going to do the same with Halo 5. I don't know. There's just something about the gameplay to me of these games that I can get into. Anything sci-fi, I find I can get into. So basically, if you've enjoyed previous Halo games, definitely check this out. If you're not into Halo or first-person shooters at all, I definitely say stay away from this. It's not going to change your mind. They haven't completely changed Halo into this crazy new thing. It's still the same old Halo, and maybe that's kind of this game's biggest weakness. It's you know the fact that it is so similar to the previous ones. They didn't take any risks. Um, but yeah, overall, I quite enjoyed it. So I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.